Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 179 of our trip around the United States. It is official, we have made it here to the Lone Star State. Welcome to Texas. I know that you probably are aware Texas is a big state, but it's hard to wrap one's mind around how big Texas actually is. There are several states in the United States that you could place within Texas and still have room to spare. There are more counties here than anywhere else in the country. In fact, there are 254 counties to cover in Texas. We have done a lot of trips in and out of the state working on those counties, and a lot of those, like recently, were with Skeletor 10. Despite how much work we've put into the state of Texas, there is still a long way to go. We will be spending the next month here, working our way through the DeLorme and the county as we make our way through the state one day at a time. Now normally, as we work our way through the state, I keep this DeLorme overlay on so that you can see the DeLorme pages and the counties that we're working through simultaneously. We're going to throw that overlay out for the state of Texas. We're not going to need it. It is almost impossible to go through the counties in Texas and not automatically get the pages, with few exceptions. So we're really not even going to show those for this journey. I want you to see the Texas counties specifically as we work our way through the state. For today's route, we have 350 miles to cover, but a significant portion of that was from Alexandria to get where our starting point is here in Texas, and we're already done with that. So realistically, we've got closer to about 270 miles to cover today. From here, on the eastern edge of the state next to Louisiana, just outside of San Augustine, we're going to work our way up through Longview and bring our day to an end in Jefferson. I have been both excited about and dreading Texas since I started the planning for this trip, because I know completing this state is a monumental undertaking. But taking it one day at a time, we'll work our way through the state from beginning to end until we're finally able to stamp our name onto the County Challenge Final to culminate this thing on our very last day. So let's get started. Come on, let's do this thing.
While we get out there and find some geocaches this morning, let's discuss how large Texas actually is. It is actually only the second largest state in the United States. That's right, number 2. The largest state is Alaska, which is 2.5 times larger, but we'll get to that on another adventure. The area of Texas covers nearly 270,000 square miles, which is more than 1.5 times larger than California. By itself, this massive state makes up 7% of the landmass of the United States. Assuming the population density of a place like New York City, you could fit the entire world population of nearly 8 billion people into the entire state. You could take 15 of the smallest US states and squeeze them all in Texas, with still a little bit of room to spare. That would include Kentucky, Virginia, Indiana, Maine, South Carolina, West Virginia, Maryland, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Hawaii, Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island. The Lone Star State is nearly twice the size of countries like the United Kingdom and Japan, 8% larger than France, and if it were ranked as its own country, it would be the 40th largest out of 193 countries in the world. So, yeah, all that's to say, Texas is a big state.
This birdhouse is a tricky little guy. This little latch here on the side, yeah, it doesn't do anything. That's all for show. This is a pull and lift kind of deal right here. Gotta love some geocaching ingenuity.
Coming into the city of Nacogdoches, we dropped into the Stephen F. Austin State University, which is celebrating its centennial with 100 years having opened in 1923. While originally founded as a teacher's college, it was subsequently renamed after one of Texas's founding fathers, Stephen F. Austin. Since it is still the middle of winter break, Aichan and I were fortunate enough to have the campus to ourselves, leaving it for us to explore at our leisure. We were brought to the campus in pursuit of a virtual that focuses on the old stone fort, which was built in 1936. While the building itself is a replica of another structure that had stood in the area in the late 1700s, the stones are from that structure, which was demolished in 1902. My personal favorite while exploring the campus was the solar model located in front of the STEM building. The design includes orbital rings with 4 inner planets and custom-built steel sculptures in the asteroid belt, depicting the planets in their proper rotation around the sun. Art and learning as one.
It is worth noting that while I do try to limit the amount of cemeteries I show on my daily travels, that rule has to go out the window here in Texas. Because so many of the counties here in the state, the only geocaches to find are in cemeteries. And if I don't show you cemeteries, these are gonna be extremely short geocaching videos. So we're gonna be seeing a lot of headstones over the next month.
I'm personally a pretty big fan of cemetery finds, which I can assure you we will be seeing a lot of as we explore Texas over the next month. Oftentimes, cemeteries are situated in a location which offers a great view, and it is a quiet space where there are generally not a lot of other people around. Each cemetery that we visit gives us a little slice of tranquility as we track down the hide. Longview, the county seat of Gregg County, would be the largest city that we visit today with a population of more than 80,000 people. We made our way to the heart of the downtown area, which was surprisingly vacant today given the holiday period. The space that we spent the majority of our time exploring was the Cultural District, a 320-acre area right in the heart of downtown, which includes museums, restaurants, parks, live music, theater, and many historic buildings. You may already know this city by a different name though, the Balloon Capital of Texas. This city hosts an annual event known as the Great Texas Balloon Race, which has been going on for more than 40 years now. The event was born all the way back in 1978 from an agreement between Dr. Bill Bussey and the managers of the Longview Mall. To advertise the mall's opening, Bussey draped a Longview Mall banner on his hot air balloon and flew over the city. Over time, it has grown into a world-class event, attracting the very best competitive pilots from across not only the United States, but also the world. Scheduled to take place in June of 2024, Longview may be a place to put on your to-do list to come view the race for yourself. While here, there will be plenty of other activities to keep you engaged. It would be a fantastic time to walk through a sculpture plaza, check out many of the interesting murals in the area, and perhaps enjoy one of the live music or art festival events.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm kind of mixed on graffiti. Now, of course it's illegal, and you shouldn't break the law. And I hate seeing graffiti where people put their initials, the big block letters, or just lewd and graphic material. But a lot like murals though, if graffiti is done in a good way, it can actually brighten up a really drab or broken down space. Check out this alleyway that I found.
Graffiti tends to be word-based, whereas street art is image-based. The main difference between murals and graffiti art is legality. The only difference between these fantastic works of art and murals is being legally sanctioned.
I think you guys can probably agree. This is a space that has benefited from graffiti. So for the artist that came here and painted this thing up, nice one.
Our final stop of the day brings us into the city of Marshall, the county seat of Harrison County and the cultural and educational center of the Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas region. There is a pretty good selection of interesting geocaches spread around the area, but even more than that, there is a massive density of adventure labs spread all around the downtown area. While we only completed a few stages, there are adventure labs focused on the murals, statues, and other pieces of history packed on top of one another. Between the geocache listings and all of the adventure lab stages, it would be easy to lose an entire day exploring this city.
And there we have it, the end to our first official full day tackling the state of Texas. We actually ran at a very good time today. Right now, we're in Marshall in front of the Historical Museum, and we're only one stop away from our planned endpoint for the day. But we're just that close to being able to make it without enough sunlight on our side to continue shooting for the day. Either way, We are actually running right on time, and we're in a phenomenal place compared to where we were just a couple weeks ago. We have a whole extra half hour of sunset, which makes the difference for us to be able to push this far ahead. Today was a really good day to start off Texas. The morning was very quiet. It was a lot of country stops and a lot of geocaching through a lot of small towns. By the late afternoon, we finally made it to some of the bigger cities, including Longview. And I was fairly impressed with Longview, with how much art they had on displays around the city and the density of geocaches to be able to be found there. Really, it's one of those places where we could have spent the whole day geocaching, but time is money and we've got to keep this show on the road. We've got one more full day on the road in the northeast portion of Texas before we bring ourselves to a full stop in Dallas for a few days. Once there, we're going to get ourselves reoriented and prepared for the long road ahead as we tackle what's left of the 254 counties that comprise this state. For now, Aichan and I are going to push forward out of Marshall to Jefferson and perhaps one more county ahead, and then we're going to call it a night. Thank you guys for joining us. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.